Hello Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more r/AmITheButtHole. And if you love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that subscribe, that like, maybe that notification bell too, and let's jump straight in to today's stories. Much love guys. And our first story comes from I'm So Done With It All, who says, am I the arsehole for making my boyfriend homeless? Throwaway because they browse Reddit often. I, female 22, live with my boyfriend, male 24, in a 2-bedroom apartment. I pay the rent, but the apartment is actually owned by my parents, which is why I can afford it because they charge me 30% of market rate. I also pay utilities and other small bills. My parents are extremely house proud plus frugal. So for a university student, I like to keep it tidy, tastefully decorated, well stocked, etc. because that is how I was raised. My mum literally beams when she sees my place and I kinda like that feeling, lol. The issue is that my boyfriend, who recently moved in because his place has issues with damp, is turning my place into a swamp. It's been 4 months and I am losing my mind. He pees around the toilet and doesn't clean up. He leaves dishes in hallways. He lets the trash pile up until it overflows. He leaves muddy footprints all over the house and on the bed. Every possible mess you can think of, he manages to create it. The first 2 months I really tried to keep the peace by compromising, telling myself I'm the person who needs it super clean, so I'm the one who has to be the super cleaner. But that just bred resentment and anger in me. The bigger problem is that my parents are visiting soon. By soon, I mean literally next Wednesday. I've asked him to clean before Wednesday for the last 2 weeks, but he's ignored me each time. Each time, he finds a new excuse to delay it one more day. If they find out how trashed the house is, I'll lose my privileges and their trust. And if they find out he's created about $2,000 in damage since he's been here, I'm double screwed because money wasting and messiness are their 2 pain points. So I bit the bullet today and told my boyfriend he has to move out by Wednesday and that I don't want him to clean anymore because I'll do it myself, plus with the help of a cleaner. Reddit, he flipped, called me controlling, uptight, financially abusive and evil because I hired a cleaner so silently and I guess malevolently. I think he expected me to warn him and beg him before booking someone. My friends, some, not all, and his friends are siding with him because they don't know how bad the house really is. They've kind of implied that I'm throwing him under the bus to chase validation from my parents and to keep my gravy train rolling. Now I'm wondering if that's true because I told him to leave by Wednesday, which is when they arrive. If it was really about me, didn't I have 4 months to draw the line? Because I can't tell if I'm enforcing my own boundaries or my parents. Am I the arsehole? Edit. This is the only edit I will add. He has a flat that has since been damp proofed, but he doesn't want to go back because his flatmates do not want him back under any circumstances. He has no home, but he has a place to sleep if that makes sense. Also, I don't mind the lack of rent or utilities. That would have to be paid regardless if I have 2 boyfriends or none. This is purely about cleanliness. Thank you for reading and I apologize for not being clearer. Nope, not the arsehole in this situation. It does sound like he's freeloading and taking advantage of the situation. I mean, it's really not much to ask to clean up after yourself or even clean if you're living somewhere. I didn't think of rent that he's actually paying rent anywhere. He's caused $2,000 worth of damage in what, was it 4 months that he's been there? And it sounds like you've got a bit of a sweet deal that you don't want to lose from your parents at the moment. So I don't blame you one bit for the way you're feeling. Or potentially for the way your parents may be feeling if they see their place trashed with $2,000 worth of damage in it. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be feeling too great either. But fuck you, Galen says, let's assume you are kicking him out only to keep your gravy train going. So what? That doesn't make you the arsehole. The cost of the gravy train is the 30% of market rent and maintaining the property in a condition acceptable to your parents. You're absolutely not the arsehole for paying the price for that gravy train. The fact that your, hopefully ex-boyfriend isn't mature enough to pay the ticket price to the gravy train and his and your friends aren't smart enough to see that is just sad. Squitson says, not the arsehole, get rid of him, he sounds like a waste of space. Nothing wrong with keeping your house clean and being happy to do so. Whether a value you have for your parents or because of your parents being in a well-kept environment is good for you. Bin him, like the trash he's created, and move on. Elder Millennial says, not the arsehole. He has no respect for you or the generosity of your family. Sounds like a freeloader who isn't worth your time. If he can't respect your home, he's never going to respect you. Move on. Just be glad you're not married and that it's not technically his home too. He did you a favor by showing his cards. Sounds like you can do better. Zelos says not the arsehole. He doesn't want a girlfriend, he wants a maid, cook, sex toy who provides free housing and takes all responsibility for taking care of him while needing nothing. He's a grown-ass man and can't pee in a toilet. Just no. Be glad you didn't have kids with him because he will never be a partner. Good God, break up with him and send up some praises to God or the universe that you found out he's a needy little baby and a massive jerk before you were committed. And Accessible Beige says not the arsehole, and dang, you need some new friends. Look, a huge part of cohabitation is determining whether you can actually live with a person in a long-term committed relationship. Like that's the kind of point of moving in with someone, no? Upon moving in, you unfortunately have discovered that your boyfriend is also a slob who has no respect for his living space or the work required to maintain it. Nor does he take responsibility in keeping his own home livable. All he does is create extra work for you and doesn't help out in the slightest, and the longer you live with him, the worse it will get. In my opinion, you should both boot him out and end the relationship, and while yes, your parents' visit may be expediting this decision, that doesn't mean it's the wrong one. Sometimes one needs a fire lit under one's ass to do what they need to do. So tell boyfriend that his gravy train is at the end of the line, and next time find yourself a man who can not just wipe out his own pee dribbles, but wash dishes and run a vacuum without complaint too. Now, what do you guys make of our first story? How would you have handled this situation? Do you think OP was right, or do you have a different take? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Jobs and BF Stress, titled Am I the Arsehole for getting frustrated with my boyfriend for implying I don't deserve to make the money I make? I'm a 28-year-old woman, and I got really lucky to get the job I have right now. I studied electrical and computer engineering in college and job hopped 4 times. Each time I switched jobs, I negotiated really hard for pay and benefits. I'm making 160 grand now, working remotely and living in a very low cost of living area. It's a really nice gig, and I recognise I'm extremely lucky to have interests that line up with a super well paying industry, and super lucky to have been able to go to college at all. But despite that, I feel like I did the work to deserve it somewhat. College was super demanding and difficult. My first few jobs had grueling schedules, and I feel like I'm being paid more for the knowledge I built over all that time. But I still have to admit it's pretty cushy. I never work over 40 hours a week. My co-workers never contact me about work outside of my 9 to 5. I get paid stupid good money for it, and I have 2 months vacation time. So, on to the conflict. My boyfriend used to work outside the home. He's an IT admin at a large company, but because of the pandemic, his job became partially remote. So we're working out of the same house, and I think he sees how different our jobs and pay are. He makes 65 grand a year and works a lot longer hours. He usually starts his day at 7 or 8 AM and works till 6 or 7 PM. He more often has to work weekends to do IT stuff and is on call for emergencies with his personal phone. And it seems like they're having emergencies every week. So since we've been working from home together, he makes comments about it occasionally, like must be nice kind of things. Recently he's gotten more frustrated with me though. Yesterday I had a bad headache, so I told my boss that I was going to be away from my desk for a while since I wasn't feeling well. I blocked out a 2-hour meeting on my calendar so people wouldn't try and reach me, and took a nap. My boyfriend saw me napping during work and said, "They're really paying you to sleep, huh?" I snapped at him saying that they were paying me for my skills and that I didn't care for the way he had been talking about my job. He said something petty about my skills at napping and shooting the shit on Zoom, and how that's definitely worth 6 figures. And I got really irritated and said that just because he was underpaid doesn't mean that he could call me overpaid. If he was mad, he should go take that out on his boss, not me. He said that I was being ridiculous, he'd be in the shit at work if he did. I said maybe he needs to find a better job if his boss isn't ready to talk money. He called me privileged and out of touch and said that it isn't easy to just go and find a better job. I said that if you don't try, you're never going to know. He got irritated and stormed out. Am I the arsehole for how I talk to my boyfriend about work? Gidoo says not the arsehole. He is jealous, which isn't healthy. But you earned what you have and you should be proud. Don't let his fragile ego bring you down. Proud World says not the arsehole, obviously, but I'm really sorry, this isn't going to work out. For a partnership to work, you need to support each other and build each other up. He's jealous, of course. Me too, stupid arts degree. But he's trying to diminish you rather than celebrating what you've gotten to. Ask him for advice. You really do deserve someone who thinks you're amazing. Boring Ghoul said, so I had a boyfriend that belittled me and started fights over arbitrary things because I was making double what he has. His insecurity blinded his ability to be happy for what I worked really hard for. I'm saying everything in past tense because I dumped the guy and found someone who supports me in every way possible. You should do the same, not the arsehole. Admirable Marsupial says, so you've worked hard in college and got a great degree, changed job 4 times and gone through the new job grill. Cracked 4 interviews, negotiated well, worked a full-time job. And you talk like it's all easy and you're not doing anything major. Girl, you don't appreciate yourself and I think it might have something to do with your man. I make more than my husband and I'm from a super patriarchal country. And not once has my husband spoken to me like this. You need to get out because he's not going to understand or change. This is who he is. He's jealous and petty and insecure. If he can't let you nap when you have a headache and he doesn't love you. I'm sorry, but the longer you stay, you're going to stop loving yourself. Talk to a few friends, talk to a therapist, get your thoughts and feelings in order and get out. Not the arsehole. Vajura says everyone sucks here. You have the ideal IT job. Well, he has the average one. Your job is 1 in a million opportunity, hard to come by and well negotiated. He's a code monkey chained to a desk. It's great that a job hopping has worked for you, but it doesn't work for everyone. In fact, you can make all the right choices and still lose, because life do be like that sometimes. Telling him to work harder to get ahead is insensitive at best, and downright callous at worst. Sure, he needs to get over his ego about you earning more, but that's no reason to assume his lack of reward is a result of lack of effort. Life isn't fair, and no good deed goes unpunished. And Demona Drake says, definitely not the arsehole. He's envious. You worked hard and earned every bit of your current position. I've studied computer science and I've studied engineering in school, and I can tell you engineering is a much tougher degree to get. I'm older and made the mistake of marrying a guy that resented the fact that I out-earned him and had nice benefits. He was fine with the standard of living we had, but still made sure to make snide comments. It just got worse over time. Divorcing him was such a relief. The man I'm with now is so extremely supportive and kind, even though I'm the primary earner. There are good guys out there. This guy sounds way too insecure for a solid relationship. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to the next story. And our next story comes from Celt Onesie Storm, who says, am I the arsehole for laughing at a child-free woman wanting to be a housewife? I've been online dating for quite a while. My profile very clearly states I'm dating with marriage as the end goal. I matched a few weeks ago with a charming woman who said she also was dating with the intent to get married, with the caveat of wanting a traditional relationship where she would be a housewife. I agreed that I would be happy with that arrangement in the future. We chat about a variety of subjects and set up a date for an early dinner 2 weeks out, today. Much to my surprise, during the date, she casually mentioned she doesn't want children. In my confusion, I ask her, but you said you were looking to become a housewife. She responds, you can be a housewife and still not want children. Admittedly, I did chuckle, but it wasn't a full belly roar of a laugh, just a chuckle. She took great offense to my laugh and asks, why can't she be child-free and a housewife? My response was, what will you be doing all day? She says, what do older housewives do after their children go off on their own? My response was, usually back to work. I told her it's going to be next to impossible to find a man willing to take that deal. She gets angry and leaves. I tell my sister and she thinks I crushed that poor woman's dreams. Am I the arsehole for telling her the truth? And we're going to start with Lola, who says you're the arsehole. If she did all the house cleaning and the errands, I'd marry her this second, and I'm a straight woman. Nick Rashel says you're the arsehole. It is incredibly rude to laugh in someone's face who is being genuine and honest with you. It's also not that crazy that if her future partner makes enough and that she doesn't need to work, then she can stay home. My wife didn't work for several years before we even decided to have kids. I didn't reason. Again, so long as finances can be managed by one of you, what will she do? Watch TV, see her family and friends, be stress-free, feel happier. I don't know why you wouldn't want that for the person you love if you have the opportunity to provide it. You may think her way of thinking is childish as you smugly laughed at the premise. It is even more childish to live in this world where everything needs to be fair, and if I have to work, you have to work too. Warrior says, no one's an arsehole here. She's allowed to have a somewhat delusional but technically possible dream. You are allowed to decline to support it and give your opinion on it. Few Bumblebee says you're the arsehole. Just because you don't like the idea doesn't mean it can't happen to her. Elegant Ant says you're the arsehole. She wasn't asking for the impossible. There are plenty of housewives without children. Most of them occupy themselves by doing all the work that it takes to maintain a home and strong family and community connections. Sounds like you shut her down before she could give you any details. It's okay to not want to support a wife if that's not your thing, but being openly disdainful is not. Shy Fidelity says, no one's an arsehole here, and you didn't crush her dreams. She probably just feels stupid because she wasted her time. There are people out there who'd be fine with partners who stay at home without children. Housewife and homemaker don't always mean stay-at-home mother. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next story. Our next story comes from Olivia Kitten 0302. Am I the arsehole? Exposed my stepbrother as a liar, which caused my mum and his dad to fight. Throwaway for obvious reasons. On mobile, please read everything before commenting. Thanks. So me, 15 female, and my stepbrother, 17 male, have never really got on. My mother married his dad when I was 11 and we just never bonded. My mum often tried to encourage us to bond, but he never tried. His dad acted like he was perfect because he always got better grades than me, was better at sports, had better friends and stuff. He was good to my mum and me, but it was clear that his son was super important to him, and it was annoying how much he did for my stepbrother. Well, I found out that he wasn't so perfect. He had been telling our parents that his band practice was being extended by an hour, but I found out that it wasn't true. He'd been hanging out with his bandmates and often going home and making out and stuff with one of them, who was a guy. I collected all the evidence I could and left it on the table for our parents to find. It was stuff like pictures of him going out or some screenshots from his friends' stories. Well, they found it and they were mad. They called him down and he got in serious trouble for lying to them. After he was grounded and sent up to his room, I heard my mum admit to his dad that she knew he had been lying and sneaking off to see someone, but she thought it was a girl and was mad that she felt lied to. This led to an argument between them as he misread it as homophobia rather than her feeling tricked and lied to when she did him a favour by letting it slide. The argument got so bad that he sent my mum to sleep in the guest room and then went behind her back and ungrounded his son after they had a talk. Feels so bad now that this has caused a fight between my mum and him. My mum has reassured me that I did the right thing, but I can't stop thinking how it's my fault that she's been kicked out of her bedroom. Did I mess up? Am I the arsehole? The whole story just felt incredibly sort of jealous to me that when it got around the third paragraph and you said, well, I found out he wasn't so perfect. He'd been telling our parents blah, 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 and you find out he was with a guy. And then you gathered all this evidence, which, you know, is felt a bit crazy to me. You gathered all this evidence and just left it on the table for them to find. Outing your stepbrother makes you the arsehole instantly just for that. But Harp Chris says you're the arsehole, jealous and homophobic. Why does it matter that he was seeing a guy? He likely wanted to avoid this exact scenario where he's now been outed and betrayed by his family. Pride of Cape Town replies to that in quotes, I'm not homophobic, I just wanted everyone to know he wasn't perfect because he was dating another guy. That's why I collected pictures to prove it. Then goes on to say, that's homophobic, hun. You don't get to gatekeep who he comes out to or when. That was 100% his choice and you had zero right to take it away from him. But you did it anyway because you're jealous and homophobic. And looking at your comments about how you're trying to justify your despicable behaviour makes you a bigger you're the arsehole. Boog says, OP, it is never okay to out someone, especially to their parents. You're the arsehole for that alone. MG Darian says, you're the arsehole. I was outed to my homophobic family at 17 and it was hell. Frankly, how dare you do that? He wasn't endangering himself or you. Your parents treating him differently is an issue with them, not him. That was horribly cruel. And for the record, your mother is homophobic. If she wouldn't have cared were it a girl but cares it was a boy. She knew it was a relationship. She also had no right to know his sexuality. People come out to different groups when they are ready. He would almost certainly have come out to them when he was ready, and it probably would have gone over more smoothly if he had time to work out how to do it himself. You created this mess by being vindictive. Do you have any idea the damage you inflicted? And one more from Icy Push who says you're the arsehole. You don't give one example of your SB being an arsehole to you. You express incredible jealousy and nothing else with respect to him, and you outed him to his parents. A really low move. What a fucking asshole you are. Now, what do you guys make of this one? And let's have another story. And our next story comes from Fungal Broth, who says, am I the arsehole for not wanting to go to my sister's wedding? My sister is getting married next month. My husband and I were both planning on going, but when we got the invitation, it was only for me. When I called my sister and asked about it, she said my husband was of course fine to come, but she requested that he not be in any family photos. My husband is in a wheelchair. I've been married to him for 8 years. He's been in a wheelchair since he was 16. My family has always ever known him to be in his chair. Apparently my sister doesn't want him in any of her wedding photos because she is afraid that he'll take the attention away from her because he is different. She justifies this by saying when people come over and see our family photo, they always ask about him because he's the only one that is in a wheelchair, so he stands out. She says she wants to be the main focus in her photos. I was livid. I went off on her and told her she was being a selfish bridezilla. I told her we wouldn't be coming. I've been getting calls from parents and relatives telling me I need to apologize to my sister because now she's upset. I'm angry at them for thinking it's okay to leave my husband out of family photos because of his disability. My husband hates being a burden on people and he says he's fine with not being in the photos, which made me even angrier because now he feels bad about himself for something I feel is unwarranted. Am I the arsehole if I don't support my sister's big day because of this? My husband says we should be there for family, even if he can't be in the photos. My family says I need to apologize, but I feel this is an issue I need to fight for. Am I wrong? I remember a very similar story to this a couple of months back, maybe a few months back now. So many stories. But there's no way you're the arsehole here. And, you know, even if she did turn around now and say, yes, I'd like the husband to be in the photos, would you still want to go to this wedding with the thought process going on in their minds like this? The family, the bride, thinking along these lines. Absolutely, I don't think I would be able to attend. Just because in my mind, all the time, all that be playing along is like, they don't want me here. From the husband's perspective is that they don't really want me in these photos. And it'd be awkward saying, oh, can I actually be in these photos or not? Ugh, and it's so disgusting that someone would have to think along these lines. Absolutely not the arsehole, 100% to me. Wow. Mac Lady Bulldog says not the arsehole at all. This is absolutely an issue that you need to fight for. Your sister wants to exclude your husband for no other reason than his wheelchair, and that's unacceptable. She is being a bridezilla for sure, and your arsehole family members are backing her up. Don't feel 1 ounce of guilt for her. That's just freaking awful, and she needs to get over herself. Cat Got Your Tongue says not the arsehole. Your sister wants to spend her day disrespecting your loving marriage because she thinks she's competing with a disability for attention. She clearly doesn't understand relationships enough to get married, although that's another issue, I guess. I wouldn't go to the wedding either because your sister cares more about photos than humans. Tell her to hire some actors that look exactly as she wants them. That way, she gets a perfect moment and you don't have to be there. Maybe a walrus says not the arsehole. This makes me so mad when people forgot what a wedding is about because they want the perfect wedding. Weddings are about 2 individuals joining their life together and deeply loving each other, not having perfect picture to show and post on your Instagram. This is so superficial. GKH says not the arsehole. Fuck that shit. I'm not in your shoes, so I can't pretend to know what I would do, but you're definitely not in the wrong for not wanting to go. And apparently your other family members think the same way as your sister. Your husband is a second-class citizen in your family because he is in a wheelchair. What in the ever-living fuck? And one more from Professional Pilot 45 who says, oh my god, not the arsehole. Not the arsehole at all. Not only should you refuse to go, I'd send the invitation back to her in an envelope torn up in little pieces. Apparently your sister has the maturity depth of a very shallow mud puddle. So here's what I'd send her. After you ignore your family and the wedding is over, sends you and your husband, and then says, hey sis, now that you've entered the bonds of matrimony, maybe you understand the depth of hurt you caused me and my husband, your brother-in-law. I will tell you that you're asking me to exclude him from family photos was a form of rejection of my spouse that no loyal wife would ever stand for. If you don't understand this, well, I'm sorry, but your marriage may be doomed before it has barely begun. In sickness and in health, right? If you ever want a relationship with me again, you will need to apologize to my husband first and ask his forgiveness, and then to me. If you have no indication to do so, then I pity you and your new family. Personally, I want to commend you for being true to your commitment as a spouse and for the loyalty you have shown him. Great job, OP. If your family doesn't get basic understanding of marital loyalty, well, they may be the root cause of your sister's immaturity and, frankly, cruelty. Their pressuring you is grossly misplaced loyalty, aka disloyalty. Good luck, stay strong, stand your ground. Now, what would you do if you found yourself in this situation? How would you feel if you was OP's husband? Feel absolutely rejected. Horrible, that is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and your thoughts on all of today's stories if you choose to share them. A huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. I think it is Sunday today, and I'm going to be doing a cheeky little bit of metal detecting later on. If I do find anything, I'll be posting it on my Twitter, so come get involved over there on @MarkNarrations. Hopefully I'll find some good stuff. Wish me luck. And I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love. Have a great Sunday and a week ahead of you.